Welcome back, all of you Regs and all of you Shinies, to another Hot Toys review. Today, we are going to be going over Hunter from the Bad Batch. Now, this is an absolutely amazing hot toy, and I'm really going to try to convince you all to get this if you are as big of a fan as the Bad Batch as me. But before we start, just going to quickly say that if you are not already subscribed to our YouTube, please be sure to do so. Check us out on the various platforms that we are listed for our audio, such as Spotify, Apple Music, Anchor, etc. If you would like to help financially support us on this podcast and make what we do look better, please consider becoming a member of our Patreon. For our Patreon members, we do monthly giveaways, and those are a lot of fun. And then please consider joining our Discord. We have the best Star Wars fans in the world, so make sure you're a part of that. Now, without further ado, what you all came here for. Holy cow, I'm going to grab them off the stand really quick, but just look at how amazing and detail-oriented this figure is. Now, I'm going to kind of start with the box real quick and make my way to the figure itself. So, obviously standard packaging that you're getting with most Hot Toys products. Let me get this open real quick to show you the inside portrait. Now, this was a gift given to me by my brother last year, actually, for Christmas, and it finally has just shipped. Here is that portrait inside the box. That looks just absolutely amazing. I love all the poses and different things that they did with it, and this is such a good figure for posing too. You can get so many cool shots out of it. I'm gonna show what the inside of the box is gonna look like. So obviously this is where Hunter's going. He comes with a plethora of accessories, and you might be wondering, Jackson, why aren't there any accessories that are being shown on the camera right now? And you're gonna have to wait a second for that, so trust me on it. And then inside here, this is where that stand goes, and then here is like a sticker that goes on top of the stand if you would like, that just says Hunter from the Bad Batch. Now, I was really tempted to put this on my plate, but the stand itself already looks really cool, so that's why I really haven't done it yet. But it's there if you want to. Maybe I will in the future if I decide to do so. I don't know. So, I'm gonna set the box to the side. Now let's get into the figure itself. Now, he comes with his regular blaster, his blaster pistol that kind of hangs on the side here, as a lot of the other clone commanders do. And then he also has his knife gadget in here, which you can remove and pose him with as well. Now, as I was saying earlier, he comes with a lot of accessories. And now this is really, in my opinion, where the figure shines. In his backpack, which is connected via a magnet, which is super convenient because it just sits on the figure really well. It has good resistance too if you're kind of knocking it around. Now, in the backpack itself, it opens up, and it is perfect storage for all his accessories. If I can get those out real quick. He comes with the plethora of different hands. So here's one to hold his knife specifically. You have other action poses as well, and grips for weapons. Then he also comes with thermal detonator and then a breaching charge as well. And those all conveniently sit right in his backpack. So this is a figure that you can very easily store all of those accessories in, and then you don't necessarily have to worry later about reopening the whole box to get everything out. Like, if you're doing him with a pose with just his knife and then his blaster pistol too, you could just set the main blaster on the stand or to the side. It's not really that big of a deal. And now, if you don't want him to pose with his helmet as well, I just have this out for the sake of the review. Here is Hunter's head sculpt. Now, that looks so insanely crazy. It looks like Rambo Tamara Morrison. They did such an amazing job on this. The hair details as well in it are astounding. You can just see the individual hairs put into it, forming his haircut that you see here, the bandana tied in the back. This is just fantastic. It looks like a human head. Hot Toys has not disappointed again on this. I will be just setting this to the side, and I'm going to kind of talk about some poses and stuff later as well, and you'll see one that I did with that. Getting into actual movement of the figure itself. Now, I'm not going to be moving it around too much for you today on the camera, just because I did all that earlier by posing it in a few different ways, and later I'll ask Tommy, our editor, to kind of throw some of those in so you can get an idea of how this is moving around. But This really goes to show too the limitations of clone animated armor that we see. There was so much like individual like pieces of foam stuck in every crevice and every crack of this uniform to make sure that it wasn't getting scratched in transit at all and that it could stay nice. But it honestly bends pretty well as well. You can get it to about a 90 here on the arms, and then you have to kind of maneuver these forearm and bicep plates around if you want to move them up more. Thankfully, these shoulder pads kind of tuck more into the armor here for his chest plate. One of the things that you might have seen before is that when I'm moving his legs, his belt kind of comes unclipped here, but you literally just push that back together and it's perfectly fine. That's at least something I had with mine. I don't know if other people have that too. The legs have really good movement. All of those armor pieces are attached by just elastic here, or just by the form of the body itself, because these all have endoskeletons too, so you can naturally move it around without any joints. Its feet move really good as well. Just show you some of the leg movement there. Again, I know on my Jenga review, everybody was saying how I was very delicately handling it, but that was just because that was my first hot toy, and I really wasn't trying to do too much to it as well. Now here is where I'm going to ask Tommy to put some of the different poses up on screen right now for you, alongside the pose I have it right now, just so you can get a general idea of what you can move this figure into. Now, I'm going to move this stand back, but the biggest thing I want to emphasize for Hunter as well is, there we go, look at it, naturally standing. This is a perfect hot toy with back accessories and everything else that it has that can stand freely, and it doesn't need the hot toy stand. In one of the poses that you're going to see as well, I even have him in a kneeling position, which truthfully feels super duper nice to do because of that endoskeleton within the body. It makes it feel like it's naturally moving around, rather than with the Black Series figures sometimes you could say, like kind of balancing it to make it look semi-normal and natural too. But the figure itself with posing and everything else just looks absolutely astonishing. If I could, and if I had better lighting and some other things, I would really like to show you just more of just like the small detail, like his shoulder pads here. It literally looks like they ripped it right out of the show with how good some of the detailing on this figure is. Everything is just subtle. The scratches just look so real. The helmet itself is fantastic. I love how this looks. And I love just how the figure moves in general as well. I know I did talk about how it had a little bit more that limited mobility, but it's perfectly fine to move around even into that kneeling position I was showing you earlier. And as long as I just keep squeezing right here to push his belt back when I'm done moving him, it's perfectly fine. But that is all I have for you today on this amazing Hot Toys review. Now we have a couple more that are going to be coming out from Jacob and Tom, so please be sure to stay tuned on our channel for all of those. This was amazing, and I hope you enjoyed it as well, and it maybe even convinced you to start to look into this. Remember that Hot Toys do have payment plans, so if this is not something that you can immediately afford, you might be able to afford it down the line if you just do a subtle payment or two. And we know that they're going to be doing the Clone Wars anniversary, so we all got to stay looking at Hot Toys for what they are going to do with that. But thank you so much all for watching this video. Like I said, please make sure to like and subscribe to the video. Leave a comment too on what you liked about this as well. Sorry about the set. I was really trying to capture just everything in it as well in general to get you a good idea of what this looked like too. But without further ado, we hope to see you in the next episode of our podcast. Bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of your days.